Last weekend, I spent a lot of time playing Rematch, a brand new football game from developers sloclap behind the excellent Sifu. I'm sure you got a lot of questions. Is it good? Is it fun? Does it have the legs to go on? But a big one in, can it compete with FIFA? The answer is no, but it isn't even trying to, and that's great. Playing Rematch genuinely brings me back to those first few matches of Rocket League years ago. It's felt so long since we've seen innovation in a football game, and here in Rematch, they've delivered. Without doubt, this is the most excited I have been about a football game in a very, very long time. It's so different, so unique, and as a result, I suspect this game will turn off quite a few people between its art style, its gameplay, and the fact that this is not a football simulator in the same way that FIFA or PES are, or whatever nonsense names are called now. But personally, I'm happy about that. The idea of trying to go toe to toe with EAFC is a bad idea. Instead, this game is the innovation in pro clubs that I've been looking for. Let me quickly fill you in on what Rematch is for those who don't know. This is a 4v4 or 5v5 PvP football match. You're playing inside arenas with ever-changing environments like sand and pyramids, underwater, the jungle, and more to be added in future. The camera is third person, and you only control your player on your team. I said that this game reminds me a lot of Rocket League in the fact that it's such a different experience, but it also reminds me of Rocket League in that it's so fun to just pick up and play and get into the games, but also because it's really going to have that high skill ceiling that Rocket League also has. It's one that I'm looking forward to seeing some talented people get on the sticks and pull off some incredible goals, because even in the beta here, I scored some sick stuff and it felt so good, man. There are some things that I do have genuine concerns about, and I will touch on those. But first of all, I want to tell you about what makes me so excited about this game's launch. In this year's EAFC game, they added a game called Rush, a 5v5 experience that took FIFA's gameplay and put it into a 5-a-side game mode. It was fun, but it didn't really fit within the framework of FIFA, in that, yeah, it was 5-a-side, but it didn't change the way you played the game. It still felt like you were mechanically playing the 11-a-side match. Rematch captures the essence of 5-a-side for anyone that's played it. The spatial awareness, the fluidity of it, the back and forth nature, end-to-end stuff. The mechanics here are purposely designed for that 5-a-side experience, so passing, shooting, dribbling, they all fit within the arena and the context of what's happening within the match. And that's why it feels so good opposed to EAFC's 5-a-side mode. The main draw I'd say of Rematch is its ball manipulation. Yes, there are bog standard buttons of tackling, passing, lob passing, saving, all of that jazz, but there's also a mechanic which is the main mechanic behind the game. Technically, it's the shoot button, but it does a lot more than just that. Unlike FIFA, when you're using this button, you're manually aiming from a third person perspective. So if you're through on goal and you hold this button down, but you're aiming at the corner flag or your own 6-yard box, that is the direction in which the ball will go. This takes some adjusting to, no doubt, to the fact that I scored some awful own goals at times, but once you nail it, it feels good to do. But this mechanic has different layers to it as well, in that it has 5 ways that you can manipulate the ball. You have 4 ways in which you can point the stick, so once you hit the trigger, you can then manipulate the ball in 4 ways. Left and right to add curvature to either the left or the right. Up, that will make the ball float a lot more, and down, which will cause you to do a drop shot, meaning the ball will sink a lot quicker. You can obviously pair 2 together in that left down will give you a drop shot and curve it to the left. Also, 5th mechanic comes from the power of the shot. So the less power in the shot, the more curve that shot is going to have. This mechanic is one again that from the get-go it's fun to pick up, but the mastery of it that by my time in the end of the beta, I am manipulating the ball by aiming high and wide, adding some curve and drop to it, and I'm finding top bins. As I said, this mechanic is taught to you as a shot, but you're going to be using it for long range passing, specific crosses, or kicking out as a goalkeeper. Sticking with the 5-a-side part, a feature that I love that creates some sensational moments is the game's fly keeper mechanic. There are no set roles within Rematch. You all queue up, and after each goal is scored, a new keeper will go in net. However, if a keeper runs out of his box to make an interception, he drops the goalkeeper's gloves. If another teammate then enters the box, they will become the goalkeeper. And this led to some sick moments, some great saves, and it helped add that unpredictability, but more importantly, enhance that feeling of five-a-side. Keeping with that though, this is where the game will sing for some and not for others. It's five-a-side, meaning it's you and four other people. And just like real life, everyone's got their part to play. Otherwise, what's the point? And I suspect at launch, solo queuers are going to experience some problems as a result of that, where people are just refusing to pass the ball, not willing to trap back, all the usual trappings of five-a-side. We all have that mate who just, when they go in net, just let the goals in so they can get back out of net and swap again. And it's the exact same thing here, that it does depend on the quality of your teammates as well. There were times where I would matchmake into a game and I'd go a whole game without getting the ball unless I won the ball personally. And every single time we would lose the game because that's how it goes. You have to play as a team in these games. Everyone's got to pick up a man or else you just get dissected. This game wants you to pass the ball around, but it wants you to manipulate the ball. But also the keeper. When taking a shot, if the keeper dives the right way, they will most likely save it if they've guessed right. This is where those Rocket League comparisons come back in again, that playing keeper is almost a case of holding your nerve, because once you dive, you've committed. So, to get around this, players may do a lob pass against the backboard and then hit the rebound from that. Or, they'll smack the ball against the backboard as a cross to their teammate. Again, this is what makes me excited because at a basic level, this makes the game fun. As you play more and more, you pick up little bits of knocking it against the wall, rainbow flicking the keeper, getting that perfect spin on the ball. It really is the essence of easy to learn, hard to master. It's all just really satisfying and they've really got the game's feel down, whether that's hitting top bins, whether that's them pinpoint passes, those amazing saves that you don't think you're going to get it and you get fingertips on, or those last second crunching tackles. They have nailed the essence of five-a-side here. Especially in a game's final moments, you play 6-minute matches here. If you are drawing and the timer ends, golden goal begins. And the tension that it provides is what we all love about football. The drama and the moments of it. Agony of scoring the worst own goal you'll ever see, and the ecstasy of bagging the winner with a screamer. There is no player progression here, like skill points to put into pace or shooting, and for me, that's the right call. This game isn't about a meta, it's about getting better, and again, this will put some people off. That means it's down to you. It's about learning the intricacies of its mechanics, same way football is. If the game puts stats into shooting or passing, having played it, I think Rematch would lose almost all of its appeal. I would also say that the game playing it feels a lot different to watching it. I think it's fun and exciting to watch, but I actually don't think that the trailers have done it much justice. Even in the beta here, there was a ranked mode that you go up in the leagues, wins give you points, losses bring you down, and even here in this beta, where it doesn't even matter, I found myself wanting to win every game, and it made me have that competitive football edge, in a way that most PvP games usually bore me with now. Whilst I was streaming this all weekend, a common question that kept recurring in chat was, do you think this game has legs? And that's a very difficult question to answer. This game is 21 quid in the UK and it's going to be day one on Xbox Game Pass. It's going to have both an in-game store and season passes known as the Captain Pass. I don't know about what those in-game costs are going to be. All items were subject to change. But what we saw in this initial Captain's Pass here, for me, isn't exciting enough. There's been clear intent from sloclap that this game, a year from launch, will be vastly different to Rematch at launch. But I think for this game to have a chance of people putting money into it after launch, the game needs to almost lean into its anime-inspired roots. One common thing that was brought up was Galactic Football, the show. And if the game is wanting players to put money in on top of that initial buying price, it has to be more exciting than socks and gloves. It should be reminded that sloclap are a smaller studio. They're not the juggernaut that EA are that can produce a FIFA every year. And therefore, it's not realistic to expect big bombastic collaborations. Nor should I really want that. But if they want to make this kind of thing more enticing, and they need the extra money to help create more content down the line, then I'd be looking more to goal celebrations, goal music, goal effects, flair when you do a certain skill move. That's the kind of thing that I think would make it more enticing for a player. Again, all of it is subject to change. I don't know how it's going to turn out, but that's just personally how I feel. You know, we've seen a space and underwater map, and I think they should lean into that a lot more. I also think the long-term feeling around the game is hard to talk about without knowing exactly what it is that they've got planned. They've expressed that each season will have new game modes, and I think there's a lot of potential there. But I'd be hesitant to give a verdict right now on how I really feel. It's also been floated around that this game should be free to play. And to be honest with you, generally across video games, I'm sick of the free to play model. That as a result of getting a free to play game, you get the most barren, basic progression systems, everything is 20 quid skins, and I personally do not believe that free to play model would be the right fit for this game. Being day one on Game Pass is a great get for Game Pass, but I want the flip side of that. They should make sure that the cosmetic items that are put in the store are reasonably priced. And we're also talking about football fans here. This game is 21 quid. A good pack in EA Sports FC is 20 quid. I think I know which one I'm buying, and it definitely is not a shitty little loot box pack. Some more general feedback I have is that there was nothing more killing than having to queue up and immediately have someone quit or disconnect, and 4v5 was flat out impossible at times, man. And not to mention, as soon as someone did quit, others would immediately follow after that. In ranked, which doesn't matter in the beta, to have that happen in the full release would be very frustrating, especially for solo players. I wonder that if a player was to leave, could a bot replace them and become a goalkeeper, so therefore that 5v5 stays intact and you're not too much of a disadvantage? Just a general suggestion. And again, this is just a beta, so all of this is subject to change, but Rematch's versions of skill games to help you learn the dribble, the pass, and the shoot mechanics, I don't think are very compelling. I don't think they do a very good job. And the intricacies of each mechanic, to me, was best learned actually playing the game. Whereas the skill games, they didn't really do anything to help me understand them properly other than just very basic stuff. I think the best way to explain how much I enjoyed Rematch is that I expected to just do a stream, get some initial impressions of how I was feeling about the game, and then dip. Because I'm not really the early access guy or the beta guy. I like to experience things once the full game is out. So, to get to the end of the weekend and be scrapping to get into Division 1 by the end of my time with the beta shows just how much I had a good time with Rematch. I loved learning the deeper mechanics of it all, managing my stamina bar, knowing when to use my burst, patiently waiting for the opposition to commit, rainbow flicking it over them. Yeah, I got frustrated at times, but there was the elation of winning. And that just means it understood the core of football. And that is the core of the game. The will to play and the will to win. These are just beta impressions, but so far, Rematch has got me excited about football games again. And I never thought that would be the case given how jaded I've become with other entries in football games. So, I can't wait to see how Rematch lines up when it launches on June 19th for PlayStation 5, Xbox Series consoles, PC, and day one on Xbox Game Pass. But that's just my thoughts on Rematch. Let me know, how are you feeling about it? Are you excited by what I've said here, by what other content creators have said here? Are you playing the beta that's going on this weekend? Let me know in the comments down below. If you enjoyed the video, I'd enjoy you leaving a like. It helps me out massively. And if you are after more Rematch content, make sure you subscribe. We will be covering this game at its launch, so make sure you're subscribed. Regardless, all my socials are linked in the description down below. Otherwise, I hope you have a terrific day. Play games, get gains, and I will catch you in the next one.